Let's come to our big discussion this evening. Mumbai's Air Quality Index has been recording alarming levels since the onset of winter. According to recordings by SAFAR, a government monitoring system that tracks pollution and air quality in Indian cities, the AQI was between 300 and 400 for 23 days in January. Pulmonologists are already flagging concerns that people are facing breathing issues. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has now asked the BMC to install air purifier towers to control the pollutants in the air. The big question is whether such measures will work. If not, what can the government and related stakeholders do to ensure healthy living conditions for Mumbaikars? To speak on this, I'm joined now by Dr. Hemlata Arora from the Nanavati Max Hospital, Jyoti Pandey Lavkare, author of Breathing Here is Injurious to Your Health, also with me on the show, and in just a bit I'll be speaking with Vimlendu Jha, environmentalist. Welcome to all of you and thank you so much for speaking with us. Ms. Jyoti Pandey, let me first understand why Mumbai has joined this sort of notorious list which Delhi was topping constantly. The idea all this time has been because it's near the sea, all the harmful effects will sort of be mitigated. Why is that not happening anymore?
So places like Mumbai and Chennai and all places close to the sea have always depended on geographical and meteorological factors to control air pollution. There has really been nothing done about the man-made factors, which are things like garbage burning, crop stubble burning. Even in Mumbai, even in and around cities, there is this happening: garbage burning, industrial pollution, road dust, and construction dust. So when when the sea breeze actually does not, and that is what has happened with Mumbai, where there has been slow and no breeze happening, and so pollution is kind of trapped there, and that is the existing pollution, the existing load of pollution, added to which the extra development that is happening with the building of metros, building of all sorts of things, which is actually causing pollution to go. This is actually what Mumbai's natural pollution load is. It is just that it is blown away towards the Arabian Sea because of faster winds, and because wind speeds are low now, it is being trapped, and people's exposure to air pollution, which is what they're breathing in, has really gone up. So we're going to have many more sick people, and I'm not just talking about the temporary respiratory ailments that we get when we breathe toxic air. I'm talking about the serious issues where air pollution affects every organ in the human body, because when we inhale these tiny particulate matter, PM 2.5, goes deep into our lungs, it goes into every part of our body because it is absorbed by our bloodstream. So you're going to see cases today only of respiratory and cardiac issues, but later there is a lung cancer epidemic waiting to happen, which is what our doctors are telling us. And not just that, there are all sorts of other diseases like Alzheimer's, depression, dementia, obesity, diabetes.
That's true, and I'll come to Dr. Hemlata Arora on some of the impact that is being seen. But we still need more clarity on what has changed, because the level of construction in the city, the level of economic activity has been pretty much the same and only growing. Is this a temporary weather change, or are we going to see more on it? Is that something we'll have to figure out? But meanwhile, Dr. Arora, let me come to you on the impact. I mean, anecdotally, all around us, we're constantly seeing more and more people getting sick more often. It's a viral, breathing issues, etc. Are you seeing more of that?
Very, very much. We are seeing a very, very high number of patients with upper respiratory illnesses. Now, it's not just a little bit of viral infections with colds and coughs. The colds and coughs are lasting more than a month at a time for each patient, and sometimes coming back 2 or 3 times in a month. I'm also seeing a very, very high number of sinusitis, even parotitis, salivary gland inflammations, which we didn't used to see much until recently. In the last few weeks, I've seen many cases of that. Sinusitis, almost all colds are converting into either a tonsillitis or pharyngitis, bronchitis, or sinusitis, and requiring multiple courses of antibiotics, and lasting 3 to 4 to 6 weeks even. So it has been very severe. The last 2 months of upper respiratory and lower respiratory infections and inflictions for the population of Bombay has been very severe.
So, what is the kind of impact you will have on a population and on an individual? Dr. Arora, follow-up question for you, with sustained high levels of AQI. And how do you really protect yourself?
So I'll answer the first part first. I think the impact is going to be quite significant for young children who are growing in this particular weather, going to school in this particular weather, in this particular environment with this level of pollution, doing all kinds of outdoor activities in this level of pollution. The impact is going to be very severe. They're already falling sick very often, but they will likely have chronic bronchitis, asthma, multiple allergies, rhinitis, recurrent sinusitis. All this is waiting to happen in the near future for the young people who are outside almost every day with various activities. When they spend a lot of time outdoors, they are coming to the others who are not spending as much time outdoors, but still are going in and out of their homes and offices. Still have a lot of impact, spending time on the roads, in open vehicles. They are very affected by this pollution, and so they will have again COPD, chronic lung disorders, recurrent bronchitis. These afflictions are going to keep on happening in the near future. The remedy for this seems to be, well, protecting the environment. Like, I have been advising most of my patients to use air purifiers in their homes and not really have open windows any longer. And now that's not obviously a long-term solution. We cannot live like that. But at the moment, that seems to be the only way. Use your air purifiers in each room and not really open windows much, so that we have filtered air pretty much all of the time.
Air purifiers and the sale of air purifiers, air filters was a thing that Delhi had to deal with, and it happens for 2 months over there, specifically because of weather patterns, stubble burning, and drop in weather. I'm trying to understand, Jyoti Pandey Laukare, is this going to be a constant in Mumbai, or will this change as the weather patterns change?
Firstly, I want to clarify that the kind of air we're breathing through the year is polluted, whether it's Delhi or Mumbai, because the WHO says that actually we should be breathing air which has less than 5 micrograms per cubic meter of PM 2.5 in there, and that's a limit. So it should be as close to zero as possible. So what we are saying is, instead of smoking 40 cigarettes, maybe we're smoking 10, but 10 cigarettes are also bad for us through the year. Now, in the winter in Delhi and in the entire North India, because this is not a Delhi problem, this is across the Indo-Gangetic Plain, where air pollution rises to sky-high levels. And people, there are almost 510 million people who are losing more than 7.5 years of their lives because they are breathing this toxic air. In Mumbai, I see the trend continuing this way unless the geographic and meteorological factors, as I said. So unless the rain washes it away or the breeze takes it away, because I don't see any government taking any concrete, significant and intelligent steps to control this. We see Mr. Shinde asking for things like outdoor air purifiers, which scientifically have been proven not to work. They are inefficient. They do not, in fact, Delhi has made the mistake of installing 2 of these giant air purifiers, outdoor air purifiers, at a public cost, taxpayers' money of 44 crore for these 2 air purifiers, which in Parliament, the government itself has admitted do not work. So I don't even understand why the Chief Minister himself would suggest something that is scientifically proven not to work and spend public money on it. So unless we don't have, a long-term solution, something that will set, we need measurable goals. We need the government to take.
Let me also welcome Vimlendu Jha to the conversation, and I'll come back to you, Ms. Laukare. Vimlendu, great to have you on the show. We've been trying to figure out what really is causing this sort of high levels of AQI in Mumbai beating Delhi? Not that the air in Mumbai is constantly, great, but it's not been this bad. Do you see this as an impact of temporary weather patterns, or is this here to stay?
It's many things together. In fact, if you look at indeed right now, the sporadic, the episodic, rise in AQI levels that we see in Mumbai. And by the way, Mumbai's had almost 27 out of 31 days of bad air, as in severe category AQI. I think it's both the things together. And it's important to know that, yes, Delhi, Mumbai actually had an advantage. It has sea on three sides. The wind speed, all of that is actually, and a lot of it can be attributed to climate change, but also what Mumbai has been very systematically arriving at this juncture. If you look at almost 1,300 hectares of forest has been, the RA forest has been compromised, more than 2,000 trees have been cut, more than 20,000 mangrove trees have been chopped for bullet train. We're looking at more than 9,000 metric tons of garbage that is actually dumped in Mumbai, and most of it is burnt. Construction activities. When you look at all of that together for a city like Mumbai, and in fact, the situation in Mumbai perhaps is worse than Delhi because Delhi is landlocked. Mumbai has the advantage of the sea, and despite that, if the air quality this winter, last 3 months on an average, has been around 200 to 300 to 400, then that means that there's something terribly wrong in the model of development. The construction activities in last couple of weeks, last couple of months have actually increased in Mumbai. And, everyone will tell you that because there was a hold on development or construction because of COVID, all of that is happening in a very, very unregulated way. So infrastructure, when that you prioritize more than the right to breathe and your ability and your desire to
heavy construction. One point. Heavy construction in Mumbai is not new. This kind of activity in Mumbai is not new.
Not new at all. But right now, what is happening is when you compensate. So if you imagine if you're building 5 buildings a week, now you're building 20 because you're making up for 2 years or 3 years of no construction. Right. So if you speak to most of the experts, they'll tell you that construction activity is almost threefold than what it was normal, and without really following any of the construction demolition norms. So indeed, climate change, indeed, weather conditions, indeed, wind speed, but when you have in the last 5 years chopped 20,000 mangrove trees, when you have chopped around 2,500 trees in RA, when you're not looking at environment or public health and linkages between environment and public health, this is a situation that will happen. And by the way, I don't know if you're aware, but just 2 weeks ago, the government said, the state government asked the DPC, Mumbai Pollution Control Committee, to remove these air purifiers from places where it was measuring high levels of pollutants. Because, so the idea is it's not just about what your AQI monitor is telling you. And by the way, every AQI monitor is 70 feet above the ground. Therefore, the situation is worse. So Mumbai is waking up to a problem that Delhi has been living with all this while. By the way, Delhi's AQI, we are comparing with Mumbai. Delhi's AQI is good today, not because there's been any development activity or government intervention. It's because of wind speed, it's because of the weather, it's because of the rain that we just had a couple of days ago. And good air days in Delhi has only been because of good weather in that sense, or a little bit of rain here and there. So most cities today, Delhi and Mumbai are grabbing the headline, Mumbai more so for last couple of weeks. But this is a problem pan-India. We are all in an air pollution regime, and we only discuss some cities. We sometimes discuss other cities. We don't ever discuss the countryside, where we don't even measure the plight or the quality of air that we have.
Correct. But so this was the question, because the sea was our buffer. And what happened to that buffer? Did we ignore the warning signs to the extent that even this natural sort of bounty is not able to help us? Now, Dr. Arora, I want to come to the kind of solution that has been reported today, that of a air purifying tower. In your view, is that going to help in any which way? And do you think that as an issue of public health, this needs to be taken more seriously?
answer the second question first, as an issue of public health, this needs to be taken extremely seriously, because I think that is the main cause of suffering for almost the entire city. At least I would say 30 to 40% people are suffering actively at any given time, with either some kind of a respiratory, upper or lower respiratory issue. So definitely a very serious health problem. Now, regarding the solutions, I think it has to be multifold, and I'm sure the other experts are able to, elucidate much better on that. Will the outdoor air purifiers work? Again, I wouldn't be the right person to answer that. But my experience with the indoor air purifiers is that they do seem to improve the quality of air in closed spaces. Now, outdoor purifiers, it doesn't logically make sense that they would work, but again, it would remain to be seen depending on what kind of a quantity of air they're able to clear and such things. So that would be indoor air purifiers that definitely seem to improve, respiratory health in general for the people who are using it very regularly.
In a world now where we'll have to shut our windows and put on purifiers within our houses to be safe in our house for the air we breathe. It's really, I mean, we have to wake up to what a scary and pathetic situation this is. Ms. Jyoti, the solutions that are being looked at right now, and what, in your view, does the government need to do? Because the Mumbai AQI issue is frankly not getting as much publicity as the Delhi one is, which honestly spurred a lot of action by government, central and state. The Supreme Court took cognizance of what was happening in Delhi. Meanwhile, there's only a very muted sort of response to what's happening in Mumbai, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think we are looking at the problem, not in its entirety. We should not be talking about Delhi and Mumbai. The lungs of every human being in India and everywhere are important. And we have to look at, like Nilendu pointed out, we are actually not even measuring the air quality. In rural areas, we have about 400 good quality monitors in the entire India, most of which are located around the metro regions, especially around Delhi. What we need is a regional action plan. We need something. We need a full-on entire India action plan where we need targets. We need actual action. We don't just need plans, which are pretty meaningless. We need concerted action, not incremental change. Imagine that today we are not even able to step outside. Imagine our children whose lung size is actually smaller than lung size of children in our part of the world. Their lung function is lower. What kind of athletes are we going to produce? What kind of children, what kind of brain power are we going to produce? We talk of a young demographic that India has, but actually what we have is a sick demographic. We are creating a sick demographic across India, not just in Mumbai and Delhi, but in the entire country. This debate has to change into an all India issue, and we need to have people accountable. Right now, what is the Mumbai Pollution Control Committee doing? They should be getting into action. What is the CPCB doing? Nobody seems to be accountable for this terrible air that we are breathing, which is causing illness. So, I mean, who are we creating this wealth for?
The question over here is, where is the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board? We haven't heard a peep from them. Vimlendu Jha, in terms of solutions and air purifiers which have come up, what else does the government need to do very, very quickly?
First of all, it should not hide behind a public, an air purifier. That's actually just a monument of disaster. It doesn't even clean 1 square kilometer of air, and that's what Jyoti was telling you about. It doesn't work. It just tells you that it is doing something. It pretends that the government is active and it's putting in money. Imagine almost 100 crores is what Maharashtra government is saying they're going to spend. That's going to be absolute waste of money and just a PR exercise. I think we need to have a short-term, medium-term, and long-term plan. Not, 3 million vehicles, not overnight is suddenly will actually have a better public transport. And therefore, the government will have to really look at how does it strengthen public transport, and not just within Mumbai, but also Mumbai's public transport mobility is linked to people who live in and around Mumbai, and that needs to be strengthened. Second is, as much as you said that as much construction is the same, Mumbai is always under construction, under progress. we need to really have the construction demolition norms. Dust is one of the main contributors today of Mumbai's AQI, and that dust is actually coming from the construction demolition sites of Mumbai.
Absolutely.
Heard,
Yeah.
as I said, almost 9,000 metric tons of garbage, better waste management, and then you do not, first thing that you slaughter in the name of infrastructure and development is the greens of Mumbai, the natural lung. Rather than building a new air purifier, which Fadnavish and Shinde and everyone else, Sarkar, should have thought about the air purifier that you had, that you chopped. Now you're looking at building 5 new air purifiers, but you actually had a lung which was fully functional and
Right.
you chopped it overnight. And unless and until you look at those forests of 20,000 trees that I just said that were chopped for bullet train, and those 2,000 odd trees at RA, and many other things, a machine can't clean our air, Tamanna. It will have to be
The
nature,
chickens will
and
come
it will have
home
have the
to
balance.
roost eventually. We will have to, sit up and take notice of what we are suffering, and we're already seeing the consequences of it. Don't think it's going to go away after a few days. It's a problem we need to deal with holistically. I'm absolutely out of time. But thank you so much to all of you for joining us on the big story this evening on the India Development Debate. I'll take a very short break here, but a lot more on the other side. Stay tuned.